Oh my goodness. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And for some reason, I don't see my chat in my Restream studio, but I see it in my YouTube studio. Oh my God, good morning. Hi, Jen's mom. Good morning. Kels, good morning. Hi, sweetie. Thank you for the gifted membership. Thank you. Hi, Christoph. Hi, Wisco Gal. Good morning. I don't know why why my chat isn't showing up. This is driving me nuts. I'm gonna have to break my neck and look the other way. Well, for everybody that was here last night, and I'm sure you've heard by now about the plane crash. Um, there it is. It's popping in now. Good morning, Ghostface. Good morning, Mimi. Mimi. We were talking about Balin, and I was talking about Ronald Reagan Airport and how I don't like flying in and out of that airport. And it's called Reagan National, but it was Ronald Reagan. Not it was National, then it became Ronald Reagan, now it's Reagan National. Okay. I said I don't like flying in and out of that airport. I said it last night before I even heard about the crash. I said I don't like flying out of Boston or flying into Boston, flying out of Boston. I don't like doing the same thing with O'Hara. I don't like flying into JFK. Okay. I've said all of that. And then we're still going. And then I look and there was a crash. And I'm like, oh my God. And it's American Airlines and it crashed with a Black Hawk. So they actually see, I said the same thing, Mimi. I'd rather go through BWI. I said the same thing. And my sons be like, why are we flying into BWI? But I've flown international over the last 8 years, probably twice. But I normally go through. I know it's more of a hassle for them, but I feel comfortable going into BWI. And so, and me, I'm like, oh, I swore I was landing at Reagan. No, I knew I was going into BWI. Okay, I've all since I even lived there, I would drive to Baltimore to fly out. Unless I'm flying for business, I don't really have a choice. Good morning, Daddy. I don't really have a choice. Um, oh my God, I miss you guys too. I did Ghostface, but I'm back at work. But I will be working from home on Thursdays and Fridays. Friday, I'm gonna go back to my half days, but today I have a doctor's appointment, and I have the whole gamut today. Hi, Muggsy. Long time no see. How you doing, sweetie? So, I was talking about that last night. And then I hear about that crash. Now, first thing I thought about, because my sons are always flying and they're always out on business. But I knew if anything happened to them, I would have had a phone call. Then I find out that it was the figure skating team. Maybe the coaches were supposedly on this. So we do have some footage of the midair crash. Um, I want to say trigger warning. I've been watching this feed damn near all night, all morning. I really didn't sleep. My stomach was really, really upset. Um, let's see. Make sure I'm not missing. Hi, Queen of O'Hara. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. And Kels, again, thank you for the membership. Jen's mom received the membership. Good morning, Queen of O'Hara. Let me get over here. I'm going to say trigger warning. And I also Muggsy, yesterday I found out, well, I already knew who it was, but I had definite proof. who this person was. And I'm so serious, William. Don't come back in my chat. You come in my chat under any name. And I always seem to know it's you, but I don't accuse you unless I have proof. I will call your police department and I will press charges against you. Promise you that. Good morning, Pam LaBar. Prayer, it's a tragedy. And I was telling everybody last night that when that plane did crash, it was 1982. I remember it was my sister, my ex-sister-in-law, who's now deceased, my two sons. We were over at Lady Bird Johnson Park, which is, you can see all the planes coming in and landing. And that's the one that hit that key bridge and went into the Potomac. And hi, Tracy. So, and I had to go look and see what year that was. It was 1982. I remember my sons were young, but they used to like to go out and watch the planes land and play at the park. I mean, it's Lady Bird Johnson Park. And you park, I mean, it's just nice. But then it took me another probably 10 years after that to go back. Because Nathan was there. Nathan had to be around 4 when I went back. Because it's a nice area to go sit up, park your cars. People be out there walking, they're barbecuing, but you have a whole view of the Potomac, the airport. It's just really, really nice. So, and for some reason, this shit just reminds me of, it's not 9/11, but our 9/11 happened like 2 years after I was there. And I had my son, we went up to the World Trade. I mean, we went all the way to the top, and it's just reminds you of a lot of shit when these things happen. Okay, so you'll see right here, this is the commercial flight right here. This is the Black Hawk right there. I just want you to see this. And then we have a pilot that's discussing the approach into Reagan Airport and how hard it is and the difficulty. And I told you, there's this airspace right here is so tight for all these flights that are flying in here. Hi, Denver.
Situation out of the D.C. area right now. A commercial American Airlines flight operated by PSA Airlines.
You see that? Did you see it? Don't do this.
Situation out of the D.C. area right now. A commercial American Airlines flight operated by PSA Airlines as part of the American Eagle network collided with an Army helicopter late last.
So there are no survivors right now. None. Hi, Sarah motherfucking Z. Good morning. There are no survivors right now. They've pulled at least 30 bodies out. 30 bodies they pulled out of the Potomac. There's daylight, but this is so sad. This is really, really sad. So let's take a look at this one.
Details just into our newsroom on the American Airlines jet that crashed with a Black Hawk military helicopter near Washington, D.C.
Yeah, the scene has now gone from a search and rescue operation to a recovery mission. Eyewitness News reporter Mark Robles joins us live in studio with the latest. Mark.
Yeah, John, Rachel, good morning. Federal officials investigating the crash.
Okay, I don't know what the hell is going on.
Waking this morning, breaking news as a passenger plane collided with a military helicopter in midair over Washington, D.C. Both aircraft then plummeted into the Potomac River.
All right, there is a search and rescue operation going on, but right now we're hearing it's not a rescue operation. Everyone is feared dead. Robert Moses joining us with the very latest. What's going on?
Yeah, Rosanna and Kurt, a tough update from first responders and from politicians at Reagan National Airport this morning. First of all, I want to show you this image. Around 4:45 this morning, We watched as first responders saluted the flag-draped body of a service member as it was loaded into an ambulance. As we suspected from very early on, there are no survivors. EarthCam shows the moment last night, just before 8:48 to be exact, when American Eagle Flight 5342, operated by PSA Airlines from Wichita, Kansas, on approach to the airport with 60 passengers and 4 crew members aboard, collided with a U.S. Army Sikorsky Black Hawk helicopter on a training mission with 3 soldiers on board. This happened about 3 miles south of the White House and Capitol. 300 first responders descended on the scene. The rescue operation began in the dark, frigid waters of the Potomac, but yes, as we learned.
Okay, so last night they said the water was so cold and frozen that you can walk across the Potomac. This is how cold this water is there.
Just a couple minutes ago, this is no longer a rescue
That's
operation,
true
but
too,
now
Muggsy.
a recovery
That
operation.
is so true. It was a small flight.
We are now at a point where we are switching from a rescue operation to a recovery operation. At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors from this accident. And we have recovered 27 people from the plane and 1 from the helicopter.
We are learning about some of the people who were aboard the American Airlines flight. According to the Kremlin, there were 2 former world champion Russian figure skaters, Evgenia Shishkova and Vadim Naumov, who were married. You see them there. They were on the plane. This, again, according to the Kremlin. Also, U.S. figure skating confirms that, quote, several members of its community, including athletes, coaches, and family members, were coming home from a camp held in conjunction with the U.S. Figure Skating Championships in Wichita, which ended on Sunday. We also just heard from the CEO of American Airlines. He says at this point, the cause of the crash is still not known.
They collided with a military aircraft on an otherwise normal approach. And at this time, we don't know why the military aircraft came into the path of the PSA aircraft.
And while this investigation is in its infancy, President Donald Trump said on Truth Social that it looks like the crash, quote, should have been prevented. He called this a terrible night. Currently, Reagan National Airport is still currently closed to all arriving and departing flights. We're told that those flights are scheduled to resume at 11 o'clock this morning, so a little less than 3 hours from now. Reagan is supposed to be back up and running for all arriving and departing flights. But again, the sad update, as we suspected, this has now transitioned from a rescue operation to a recovery operation. So far, a total of 28 bodies have been recovered, 27 from that American Airlines flight and 1 from the helicopter.
Now,
Kurt,
there is
if we learn
audio.
anything more in the next hour, we'll pass it on.
There is audio of them telling the telling the Black Hawk to come back to base. There is audio of that.
And right to the breaking news this morning, hundreds of first responders desperately searching D.C.'s Potomac River right now for any survivors after a plane operated by American Airlines subsidiary PSA collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter. This happening near Reagan National Airport around 9 p.m. last night. Both aircrafts crashing into the dark, icy water below. As of right now, no survivors have been recovered. 60 passengers and 4 crew members were on that passenger jet, including several members and coaches from the U.S. figure skating team. They were returning from a camp in Wichita, Kansas. 3 soldiers said to be on board the military chopper. Terrifying audio capturing the moment the crash happened. Watch.
If you see that, go around, climb, maintain 3,000. Blackjack 3, can you return to base? Blackjack 3, proceed directly to Glebe. I need you to land. I need you to land immediately. Can you go to Dulles for a few minutes? Can you go to Baltimore?
President Trump has been briefed on the situation, saying on Truth Social, quote, this is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. Federal agencies working with state and local officials to figure out how this could have happened. Joining me now is aviation expert Captain Mike Caulfield. Captain, thank you for weighing in here. Your reaction?
Thank you, Maria. Good morning. First of all, our prayers and concerns and heartfelt condolences go to the families of so many folks, and also the first responders.
But here's the thing. You're saying the command crew in the towers will be blamed. My question is, from what I understand, a Black Hawk cannot be picked up on a radar. That's the way my sons explained it to me, because when they used to fly out of Afghanistan and Iraq and Kuwait, they leave on a Black Hawk and they leave at night under the cover of dark because they cannot be picked up on radar. So that is my question. Did the command center pick up on the Black Hawk that was in that airspace? The military had them. The military had them. But did the air traffic controllers have that? Because the way I understood it, the reason they were using the Black Hawks is because they're like stealth and they can't be picked up on a radar. You heard the military side, they were telling the pilot to return to base, and they were on a training exercise. Good morning, Crafting with Amanda. They were on a training exercise, but I wanted to get to the pilot that has flown into Reagan so many times. The pilot is on, where is the pilot? I had the pilot. Hold on, guys. I had the pilot. Hold on. I just want to get to the pilot. Hold on. I want to get to the pilot. Okay, I have it. Let me share. So the pilot is going to tell you about that approach to that airport. Yep. You can see the plane, but not the jet until it was right there.
With us, he's an FAA licensed commercial pilot, a former flight instructor at the State University of New York. And we also are joined again by former NTSB and FAA investigator, Jeff Gazzetti. Good morning. It's good to have both of you here. So let's talk about your pilot. Why is this particular airspace so challenging? Everyone talks about how difficult the landing and takeoffs can be and how congested it is there.
It is a reasonably small airport for so many aircraft that come in. 2 active runways many times. And the approaches, the instrument approaches to the aircraft can be quite difficult. To runway 33, it requires 3-4 turns within 10 miles of the runway. And doing 150 miles an hour, 10 miles does not take a long time to traverse. And that's as the pilot is descending. In this particular case, I understand that the aircraft was landing on runway 33, but at first approaching runway 1. And at minimum altitude, it would have to change direction to the right, dogleg to runway 33, and then make a final left-hand turn.
You're saying that the runway was changed last minute? I hadn't heard that.
Not changed last minute, but they were informed to approach runway 1 and dogleg to runway 33. Now that creates a situation where the pilots are concentrating heavily on switching runways and approaching the airport at night. Many lights. Besides the airport having a tremendous amount of light and very bright approach system that's flashing the direction to the runway, you also have all of the background lights on the highway, then the darkness of the river and the contrasting light on Washington, D.C. So it's very difficult to spot other aircraft, particularly at a low altitude.
Anthony, we're going to play just a snippet of the audio from air traffic control last night. And listen closely. Tell me what you hear. I want to get your take on the traffic between the pilot and air traffic control. Here it is.
Pass 25, get CRJ in flight. Pass 25, pass find is CRJ. American 3130, go around, turn left in 250, climb maintain 3000.
All right, explain that to us in layman's terms. What's being said between the two?
What essentially that helicopter was taking off from a small military base just across the river on the Pentagon side. And it's crossing through the busiest airspace in that region and instructed to go behind the CRJ while it was in landing phase. But at the same time, the video shows that an aircraft is taking off as well, either from runway 33 or 1. And so the pilot of the helicopter could have mistaken the location of the aircraft for the aircraft taking off. Or lost the aircraft in sight because of all of the background lights. Very, very difficult. Not a lot of time or room for error.
Yeah, let's turn to Jeff Gazzetti, who is a former NTSB and FAA investigator. What do you see in these images, in the snippets of audio that we have from ATC?
Hi, Savannah. Well, I think Captain Roman, I see the same thing that he sees. But I think the jury is still out with regard to exactly what the helicopter pilot was seeing. Was the helicopter on night vision goggles? Was the helicopter flying at the proper altitude for that helicopter route? Because there's a corridor where helicopters can transit the Potomac River. So we'll have to see what that will show in the investigation. I'm sure the controller will be interviewed.
Can you imagine? Now, there's buildings all around there in Alexandria, Arlington. There are high-rise apartments. Can you imagine if that plane didn't go into the Potomac? And I hate to say that, but can you imagine if that plane and that helicopter didn't go into the Potomac?
They will review the recorded radar tapes, but it certainly looks like a mid-air collision that happened in visual conditions. The visibility was good, but it was at night, and that could provide a different image to pilots that are taking off and landing or transiting.
Well, how are you telling him to go behind the CRJ when it's behind you already? Let me go back. That thing was coming straight at that plane. Look at this.
That could provide a different image to pilots that are taking off and landing or transiting that very congested airspace.
Jeff, so far, we haven't heard whether they've actually recovered those so-called black boxes that end up telling us so much in situations like this. But when they do, Jeff, what do those show? What will those reveal?
Well, for the American Eagle flight, you'll be able to hear if, in fact, this traffic alert and collision avoidance system did go off, did provide an RO warning. You'll be able to determine if the crew had any idea or talked amongst themselves about spotting the helicopter traffic. And then if I'm not sure if the military Black Hawk helicopter has a cockpit voice recorder, but you'd be able to hear the same things with that also.
Jeff, just real quickly, if it did, let's just say that this system that's going to alert the regional jet to a near collision, if you're landing, you're on approach at 150 miles an hour. I mean, what evasive measures could you really take at that point anyway, even if you were alerted?
Not much, Savannah. And in fact, Tom Costello nailed it with regards to the use of TCAS whenever you're on final approach into an area where there's all kinds of airplanes around. The algorithm, the software may mute some of those warnings because you're pretty much almost at the runway. And you've got the helicopter coming from perhaps behind the regional jet or on a course to come behind it. So there probably wasn't a lot to do, even if the TCAS alarm did go off.
Let's leave it there for the moment, but we'll be back with you, gentlemen, throughout the morning as we cover this terrible tragedy in Washington. Thank you for your time.
This is so freaking sad. So now is light out. Let's look.
It's there's always going to be that process.
Talk Mike Hoheisel.
Hold on.
And Brandon Johnson.
Is light out now?
First and foremost, I want to address.
Yeah.
Let's get more expertise here. We've got Anthony Roman with us. He's an FAA licensed.
Look at this.
CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie Daggett joins us now.
Miles south of Reagan. The Black Hawk belonged to B Company, 12th Aviation Battalion. Officials confirmed, as we've reported already, 3 soldiers on board. None of them were senior officials. The new Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, said on X that an investigation was launched immediately. The Army and the Defense Department are cooperating. This is being led by the NTSB. He also called the incident absolutely tragic. As you know, these helicopters are often used to transport military personnel, in some cases VIP and other duties around the Washington area. And I say that because as part of their training, they would learn how to travel and how to fly and get around in congested airspace and learn the flight patterns near the airport. So a law enforcement source close to the investigation has told us that investigators will examine pilot experience in that D.C. airspace. And those are the questions that we're asking here. They are driving the investigation, and the DOD and the Army are doing everything they can to cooperate.
And as we wait for an official report and an official remarks from government sources, I'm wondering what you make of the details that we do know. One thing our senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve mentioned moments ago was that on his recent DA, and we heard at the press conference that while this was a training mission, as it's been described, soldiers on board are...
It's a ship that you can cruise up and down the Potomac on. It's like a dinner cruise ship. You take those and you cruise up and down the Potomac. Those are fun, especially when it's during the summer. So they have everything out here.
Experience, they are skilled. So what do you make of that? And can you help us understand in layman's terms what it means that they were on a training mission? What is and is that not?
Well, Errol, in layman's terms, almost everything is a training mission. I think the reason they're saying it was a training mission is because it wasn't necessarily transporting personnel from one place to another. They weren't on an operational mission. So it was a training mission. Again, not unique. If anything, it's routine to see Black Hawk helicopters up and down the Potomac. I just moved here about 6 months ago, and I'm just blown away by the amount of traffic around Reagan National Airport and how low the planes come in right over the Pentagon as they land. So that is a congested airspace. But of course, in a manner of speaking, they do have their lanes. I think what will have to be determined, and this is way out of my pay grade, is whether they were operating within that envelope. We know that it's tight. Chris Van Cleve knows that it's tight. You can see it for yourself. We have to determine what went wrong, or they have to determine what went wrong. And I've been listening to one of the press conferences this morning, and they said, look, the flight path of the helicopter was routine. The flight paths were not unusual in the D.C. area, either for the incoming aircraft or for the chopper. But clearly something went wrong, and that's what they'll have to determine here. In terms of experience, the Army would argue that the pilots and that crew would not have been flying in that area if they lacked the experience. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is let's not necessarily confuse a training mission with sort of newcomers or...
Thank you. That's what a training mission is empty. They're getting their flight hours in because they still have to keep up their flight hours. I get that. But they do call everything a training mission.
Individuals that weren't capable of flying within that airspace.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted you to drill down on. We are getting some early information that the NTSB, which we've discussed is leading this investigation, may deliver their first press conference to the public at about 2 p.m. this afternoon. This incident happening approximately 12 hours ago from this moment. Charlie, what is the physical posturing around the airport? We know it's closed to incoming out.
Pentagon. I'm only about 15 minutes away from the airport, so I made a beeline for the airport to the Potomac. Obviously, all the roads leading to the airport were closed off, and you may have seen...
So here's the thing. You have people coming in. You have family members, friends, whatever, waiting to pick them up. Can you imagine? And that flight that was taking off, you can't tell me they didn't see that explosion on that plane. On that plane. You can't tell me they didn't.
In some of our coverage, Tony DeCopel on the other side of the Potomac, that was as close as we could get. It was a clear night, very cold. In fact, the Potomac had been frozen over for a number of weeks leading up to this, and there was still ice there. It gives you an idea of how cold it is and was. Then, while we were there, it seemed that the helicopters, specifically the helicopters, were broadening their search area. And I think that's what Tony was referring to earlier, the reason that they were moved off that area, because, it's probably a mile or two across. And what I saw, and you could see this, in the darkness of night, there seemed to be three very distinct debris fields, one in particular to the right from where I was looking, which is furthest away from the airport, where there's a lot of emergency vehicles there. Again, divers, there's a lot of illumination to help with the search. At one point, by the way, last night, they asked us to turn off our lights because it was getting in the way of their night vision and their searches. So if anything, that area of debris that they had been searching has been widened across the river and including the marina, which is where most of the television crews had set up.
And we did hear during the press conference a short time ago that the fuselage is in 3 distinct sections there. It has now moved on to a recovery mission. Charlie Daggett giving us the latest from the Pentagon. Charlie, we will surely continue to connect with you.
What did you guys see? Did you see the Black Hawk hitting the commercial flight, or did you see, because the commercial flight was coming in to the runway, it looked like that Black Hawk, or that CRJ as they call it, was coming straight at them. That's what it looked like.
Conference there from several of the leaders in the area that are involved in trying to in the search and recovery, trying to figure out exactly what was going on. We heard from the mayor of D.C.
This
we also
is
heard
just
from
crazy.
A lot from U.S. Transportation
Last time there was a
Secretary
crash
Sean
there,
Duffy,
it was in
talking about
1982.
On multiple occasions said that the helicopter was in a standard pattern. The American Airlines flight was in a standard flight pattern as well, and it's not unusual for these
there were survivors
to be
on
in
that
the
flight.
same space. He says it happens all the time. He also talked about how they've located the fuselage of the American Airlines plane. It was in 3 different locations, and it was in waist deep water, so they're still working on that. And NTSB will analyze everything that they find and then try to come up with some answers as to why this happened. And the Chief Donnelly said he also talked about how they're switching from a rescue to recovery mode.
That's what
74
really stood
people
out to
were
me.
killed on that
we're
flight.
Talking about human lives here. Yes, this
and
is
it was on
a
Air
breaking,
Florida.
developing news story, but these are real human lives that we are talking about, and that's the part that really stuck out.
And that crash when it was taken
DC
off
fire
from
chief,
Washington.
That this is now turned to a recovery
it was going
operation.
to Fort
He
Lauderdale.
also gave us a little bit of fluctuation
and it
with
hit
the
the key
number
bridge.
of bodies recovered so far. He says they're counted as they go
So
through the medical examiner's office. So he gave
Hold
us
on a second. Let me show you guys this. Let me show you this. Share screen. This is what it looked like because they hit the key bridge. So there it is there. He crashed when he was right after takeoff. The 14th Street Bridge. Key Bridge, 14th Street Bridge. But that's the one that was from 1982. It was cold as shit then too. And that happened January 13th. January 13th. Damn. Whoo. So there was they said it was 64 plus 3 military personnel that were on that CRJ. But this is what the scene looks like now.
Slightly different number than what we had heard from CBS News. But of course, we know that there will be 67 Unfortunately, 67 bodies that will be recovered at the end of the day here. The Transportation Secretary, something else that stuck out to me, Annie, was he also said that though these aircraft are often in the air together, this was preventable.
Right, and that was,
it was preventable.
And the American Airlines flight shared that space, but clearly something happened. He also mentioned that they do have early indication of what could have happened. He did not elaborate, but ended with that this could have been preventable, absolutely, and that he has full confidence that we do have the safest airspace in the world. Because that is what I think, is going through the minds of Americans at this point is, am I going to be safe next time I board a flight? Because the expectation is when you get on a flight, you're going to end at your destination safely.
That's what my nerves are right now.
That message was
seriously
clear.
I fly out March 2nd. Tell me why my nerves are just like shot right now. My nerves are shot. What was the airline that crashed in my uncle's backyard in New Orleans? It wasn't Braniff. Was it Braniff? Because they don't fly anymore. There was a big crash at Louis B. Armstrong Airport. Matter of fact, it wasn't named that then. It was New Orleans International. My uncle lives right there. You can see the landing, everything, and they shut everything down. At the time, my aunt she had just been released from the hospital, and she had this rare blood disease where she was drowning in her own blood. And they were trying to keep my uncle from getting to his house. He bust through all of those barricades to get there to my aunt. And that was a scary thing. And then I remember when the Eastern crashed, because my aunt was, she had missed her flight, and that was the flight she was supposed to be on. And she was coming out of Kansas City. So they're far in between, but when they happen, it just puts you on edge.
Here from Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy and the mayor weighing in on this strong mutual aid agreement and the teams working together, because we learned that the Potomac River,
because one of your videos that I was watching, and then I had to go do some other stuff, is no longer there, and I forgot which one it was, because the day I was supposed to send you a message and ask you to send me the link, I got really busy, but I'll remember which one it was.
The way that this crash happened, this midair collision, the debris landing on the D.C. side is now something new for us as well, because we were wondering, the mayor is taking the lead as far as local leaders go and federal and state leaders, but we now understand the reason behind that. But, also what's clear to me is Senator
this
Warner.
Is just, I just can't right now. But you were playing a video, Bambi, where Tony, whatever, I forgot his guy, Tony Pizza, was wishing death on someone's child because they have cancer. Am I misunderstanding that? The young girl is 18 years old. Am I understanding that correctly? And he was wishing death on this man's child. Is that correct? That's what I was trying to understand. I thought first I said, no, he didn't say that, but he probably did. This young lady has cancer and you're wishing death on her. Jesus Christ.
Take time to learn the identities of all the people on the plane, but we're learning more about them.
Winnie is in the newsroom with that part of the story. Winnie?
Good morning. We know there were 14 figure skaters and their families on board. Now, according to the Associated Press, as we've been reporting all morning, there are multiple fatalities. It's unclear how many or even the number of survivors. U.S. Figure Skating releasing a statement overnight saying athletes, coaches, and family members were on board Flight 5342. New this morning, the Kremlin also confirms former members of its national team were also on board. That includes Russian ice skating coaches and former world champions Yevgeny Shishkova and Vadim Namuv.
The tragedy that we're going to deal with this recovery, I think, is touching everyone's hearts, whether it's here in the greater D.C. area or in Kansas. And again, I think everyone here is thinking and praying for those who potentially have lost a loved one.
U.S. Figure Skating releasing the following statement. U.S. Figure Skating can confirm that several members of our skating community were on board the American Airlines Flight 5342, which collided with a helicopter yesterday evening in Washington, D.C. These athletes, coaches, and family members were returning home from the National Development Camp held in conjunction with the U.S. Figure Skating Championships in Wichita, Kansas. We are devastated by this unspeakable tragedy and hold the victims' families closely to our hearts. And investigators are working to piece together the aircraft's final moments before that collision, including contact with the air traffic controllers, as well as the loss of altitude by the passenger jet. Here in the newsroom, Winnie George, WGN News.
We will have coverage all morning long on the crash in Washington. We're expecting to get an update from D.C. officials.
What they're saying was on board. Someone in the chat said figure skaters aren't allowed to travel together. I didn't know that. I did not know that. But ASAP Rocky's trial is going on, and I was listening to a little bit of that yesterday. Well, it depends, Bambi. Hi, Rhodey gal. Good morning. Good morning. It's really, really sad. And the pictures we just saw, how National was empty. This is just horrible. There are no words right now. No words. And then when we get the passenger list, it's going to be even worse if there are kids on board. Well, it's bad anyway, but it's going to be even worse if there's kids aboard. So again, I did have something to show you, but this just trumped everything that I wanted to show you. This is just totally, totally sad. I wanted to talk about Robert F. Kennedy, about the bombshell. They have recordings of he and his wife that he recorded of him and his wife arguing just before, before she committed S. He was recording his wife. And those recordings, don't know how they got them, have no idea how they received these recordings. But he was blaming his ex-wife for his infidelities. Bye, Pam. Yep, it's been a while. But somehow or another, these recordings were released. His ex-wife's, well, his late wife's name was Mary Richardson Kennedy. Yes, Caroline did a wonderful job. I put it up there, her statement. I put it on my YouTube shorts. I think it's on my shorts or my videos. They found 60 unveiled secret recordings of Kennedy and Richardson. And they said the recordings were leading up to their contentious divorce. And it was shedding light on their troubled relationship. Now, Kennedy said that he wanted monogamy, but that's when Mary confronted him about all of his multiple affairs. Now, we heard Carolyn Kennedy say that her uncle, well, her cousin is a predator. Now, Robert F. Kennedy is Jr. is RFK Sr.'s son, and then Caroline Kennedy is JFK's daughter. This whole shit. She said they were a close-knit family, but all of this stuff, he's always been a predator. He's been into drugs. He was doing, they were always bailing him out of trouble, she said. So the affidavit that they're using with this recording, is that he had violent outbursts. Good morning, Just Beetle. He had substance abuse issues, and he was always threatening to self-harm. The wife is heard. Now, I'm just reading the transcript because they haven't put the recordings out yet. That she labeled him a sexual deviant. She said that he physically abused her, substance misuse, and infidelity. And she had evidence of all of his extramarital affairs, which I think every Kennedy man will damn near, even the daddy. Okay. She said that she's witnessed him being obsessive, compulsive, need to not only beat but annihilate someone he perceives as an adversary. He rejiggers the facts, I don't know what the hell that means, or makes them up and rushes to tell as many people as he can so that his version of reality is what people are hearing. So she's basically saying he was gaslighting everybody. Now, the cousin just put him out there on blast. So I'm waiting for them to release these recordings that they have of him because I want to hear it. But she committed S. And you're right, Bambi. I think every Kennedy man was an abuser. Was an abuser. Not a womanizer, not abuser. Well, that could be abuse too. So there's more stuff coming out about Sean Diddy Combs too, which I need to get to look at that as well. But I wanted to talk about this crash this morning. But they're saying that the day that Sean Diddy Combs was arrested in New York, he had a woman in his room waiting for him, and there was a lot of pink substance in that room. Yes, Stagel. Yes, Stagel. I remember that. I remember that. And who was there trying to help him? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Joseph was a womanizer too. The daddy was a womanizer. That's where they got it from. The daddy was a womanizer. Now I understand they're unsealing the assassination of JFK and Martin Luther King. I understand that an executive order was signed for that, and we've already seen. Well, there's always been talk about the Hoover files and the snippets that were being dropped here and there. Yep, that's what it is. It is scary. The daddy, Robert, maybe wasn't a womanizer. You didn't hear too much about Robert Kennedy. But no, because Robert was rumored to be having an affair with Marilyn Monroe as well as JFK. She would go to Robert when she couldn't get a hold of him, and it's rumored that they were having an affair as well. That was a rumor, don't know. But Robert was well aware of the affair between Marilyn Monroe and John. And she was like the go-between. RFK Sr. Ted Kennedy actually killed a woman in a car accident. He was an alcoholic and a womanizer as well. John Jr. got married, took his wife out. He was a pilot and they died. Never heard anything about him cheating or anything else. They weren't married that long. That was a rumor too. Yep, you remember that. Because it was Robert that invited her to the White House to do that happy birthday, Mr. President. No, Ted wasn't good at all. Not at all. But if you go back and look at Nostradamus and his prediction for a wealthy American family, that one would grow up to be president. I mean, he predicted this. That whole family was doomed. I think that's why Ted never ran for president, because he was scared he would get hit too. Lots of scandal in that claim. And then the other cousin that was accused of drugging women in clubs. He was a younger Kennedy. He was a doll. You didn't hear nothing about him. It took him, 3-4 times to pass the bar? But when he got married, he was so handsome, so handsome. I didn't hear anything bad about John Jr. Nothing about John Jr. But Carolyn said that, there are 28 cousins, but that's just first cousins. It's a huge family. And she said they've always been close-knit. But Robert was always a problem. Everybody was always bailing Robert out. Did everybody hear what Caroline Kennedy had to say about her cousin? Because if you didn't, I can actually play it. So if you didn't hear what she had to say, I can definitely play it for you. He probably was. Now, so here's what I wanted to talk about too. There was several ICE raids in Houston at businesses. Again, everybody's saying that illegal immigrants don't work, but they're always doing raids at businesses. You're always saying that they don't pay taxes. Denver can tell you, as long as they have some type of, they are paying taxes. Hi, Deborah. You think so? So let me see. Let me get you Caroline Kennedy's speech about her brother. I mean, her cousin. I always want to say her brother. It's her damn cousin. And they're first cousins. All right, hold on a second. Let me pull this up. Stop. Hold on. Let me get it. So I was on TikTok and it came up. Perez had it, and then I found hers. But I did give Perez credit for this. So even though it's not his video. But
throughout the past year, people have asked for my thoughts about my cousin Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his presidential campaign. I did not comment, not only because I was serving in a government position as United States Ambassador to Australia, but because I have never wanted to speak publicly about my family members and their challenges. We are a close generation of 28 cousins who have been through a lot together. We know how hard it's been, and we are always there for each other. But now that Bobby has been nominated by President Trump to be Secretary of Health and Human Services, a position that would put him in charge of the health of the American people, I feel an obligation to speak out. Overseeing the FDA, the NIH, the CDC, and Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, agencies that are charged with protecting the most vulnerable among us, is an enormous responsibility and one that Bobby is unqualified to fill. He lacks any relevant government, financial, management, or medical experience. His views on vaccines are dangerous and willfully misinformed. These facts alone should be disqualifying. But he has personal qualities related to this job, which for me pose even greater concern. I've known Bobby my whole life. We grew up together. It's no surprise that he keeps birds of prey as pets, because Bobby himself is a predator. He's always been charismatic, able to attract others through the strength of his personality, his willingness to take risks and break the rules. I watch his younger brothers and cousins follow him down the path of drug addiction. His basement, his garage, his dorm room were always the center of the action, where drugs were available, and he enjoyed showing off how he put baby chickens and mice in a blender to feed to his hawks. It was often a perverse scene of despair and violence. That was a long time ago, and people can change. Through his own strength and the many second chances he was given by people who felt sorry for the boy who lost his father, Bobby was able to pull himself out of illness and disease. I admire the discipline that took and the continuing commitment it required. But siblings and cousins who Bobby encouraged down the path of substance abuse suffered addiction, illness, and death, while Bobby has gone on to misrepresent, lie, and cheat his way through life. Today, while he may encourage a younger generation to attend AA meetings, Bobby is addicted to attention and power. Bobby preys on the desperation of parents of sick children, vaccinating his own kids while building a following hypocritically discouraging other parents from vaccinating theirs. Even before he fills this job, his constant denigration of our healthcare system and the conspiratorial half-truths he's told about vaccines, including in connection with Samoa's deadly 2019 outbreak of measles, have cost lives. And now we know that Bobby's crusade against vaccination has benefited him in other ways too. His ethics report makes clear that he will keep his financial stake in a lawsuit against an HPV vaccine. In other words, Bobby is willing to profit and enrich himself by denying access to a vaccine that can prevent almost all forms of cervical cancer and has already been safely administered to millions of boys and girls. During my time in Australia, I worked on the Quad Cancer Initiative, and I learned that cervical cancer is among the top 3 forms of cancer among women in a majority of countries. Tragically, every year, more than 200,000 children lose their mothers.
She was speaking of cervical cancer, but 30 years ago, I had to do that scraping. Because when I did my pap smear, they had the cancer cells. And when I tell you they scraped and then they pack you with gauze, peeing was, and I had to go for an exam every 3 months. Luckily, I was one of I forgot the number, that didn't have to get that repeat scraping again. But I'm telling you, this is something. I went to the doctor. I had my pap. They called me a couple of days later. He told me I had to come in. Went in on a Friday. Sounds like my surgery in 2007. Went in on a Friday. He says, we're going to have to do, I forgot the term they use, but it's a scraping. And I said, okay, when do we want to do this? He said, tomorrow morning. It was a Saturday. I said, are you kidding me? He says, no, we need to get it done now. And thank God they got everything. So cervical cancer is what my sister-in-law that was with me, but she had a rare form of cervical cancer that died.
They are orphaned due to a lack of vaccines and screening. Those are the real-world consequences of Bobby's irresponsible beliefs. We are a close family, and none of that is easy to say. It also wasn't easy to remain silent last year when Bobby expropriated my father's image and distorted President Kennedy's legacy to advance his own failed presidential campaign, and then groveled to Donald Trump for a job. Bobby continues to grandstand off my father's assassination and that of his own father. It's incomprehensible to me that someone who is willing to exploit their own painful family tragedies for publicity would be put in charge of America's life and death situations. Unlike Bobby, I try not to speak for my father, but I am certain that he and my Uncle Bobby, who gave their lives in public service to our country, and my Uncle Teddy, who devoted his long Senate career to the cause of improving health care, would be disgusted. The American healthcare system, for all its flaws, is the envy of the world. Its doctors and nurses, researchers, scientists, and caregivers are the most dedicated people I know. Every day they give their lives to heal and save others. They deserve a knowledgeable leader who is committed to evidence and excellence. They deserve a secretary committed to advancing cutting-edge medicine to save lives, not to rejecting the advances we have already made. They deserve a stable, moral, and ethical person at the helm of this crucial agency. They deserve better than Bobby Kennedy, and so do the rest of us. I urge the Senate to reject his nomination. Sincerely, Carolyn Kennedy.
That was some shit right there. She put that in a letter. So, but I wanted to introduce you guys to someone too. I really, really did. And so I always go on TikTok, and all of these people are, the people that are on there, they're begging for help. Well, there's this young woman that, her name is Harmony. And I think, let me look at visibility. Her name is Harmony, and she accepted help, and it's not there. I'm gonna have to post it. Let me just give you a backstory. She accepted help from someone on the internet. They said that they were going to help her and her dog, and she accepted help from them. But it came with conditions, meaning she had to do something to stay at that home. Okay? When she didn't comply with those conditions, they dropped her and her dog off at a dog park. She was out there in the cold in St. Louis with the dog and all of her belongings. So I watched her, and they were trying to find some, this one lady offered to get her a room, and, but she wanted to book it herself, blah, blah, blah. And you can tell by the comments that it was going to be conditional as well. She was telling her, well, if you want me to have a room, you can just send me the money and I will get the room. And the woman was like, well, I would rather book it for you. She accepted help. She went to stay at this couple's home. And I guess, hi, Susie. I guess they wanted, a threesome. She's a beautiful girl. And I will post it. I have it right now. I unlisted it because I wanted to give you guys the backstory on her. Her name is Harmony. She is very sweet. Her dog is gorgeous. And she was basically having a meltdown. Hi, Marcia E. But I know Savage is going to go live today. I saw she has one set. Jen, what time is your live? Because I know I don't get your notifications. I have a doctor's appointment in 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours. I have an appointment in 2 hours. Well, 2 hours and 15 minutes. I have a doctor's appointment, and then I'll come back and do a little work. I was going to go in the office, but I'm not. I'll just come back and do a little work. I have 2 reports I have to shoot off. And then I'm not doing anything else until tomorrow morning. See, that's like Lisa. Lisa wants money. Lisa has been online. Well, she didn't come online at all yesterday, but she was online basically extorting people the other day. Want everybody to feel sorry for her, but she forgets. She lied and said her son had stage 4 brain cancer. She lied and said that her daughter was killed in an abandoned home in Baltimore. She pretended to be this woman named Miranda who was feeding the homeless and to use all her money, all her 401k, and she's coming online asking for money. She has lied. Her father has died. They needed help for the funeral. Then the father had a heart attack. Her name is Harmony. I'm gonna release it. I'm gonna release the video, but her name is Harmony, and she actually, you can see the hurt in her eyes. She's not up there begging. She's not doing all of that, and people were overwhelming her so bad. She was like, "Stop fucking offering me help. Don't offer me help. Help comes with conditions." She just lost it. Her dog knows she's upset. Her dog knows that something is going on. She's got her suitcase. She's got her dog food. She's got water for her dog. You can see she just fell on, I don't know where her family is. I don't know if she has family. I just watched her. And I'm like, this poor girl. My heart doesn't go out to just anybody on TikTok, but I can see she's not like the rest of them. She's not like the rest of them at all. Lisa was online the other day begging, saying she needed food because she had went to the hospital. She had passed out, but for some reason, her daddy dropped her off in the alley. For some reason, she was dropped off in the alley so she can get food after she passed out. But you can see the black soot all on her fingers. This lady does not want help. And it's everybody else's fault. But you done killed off your family members. Killed off your family members. Lied about your daughter. Lied about your son. Allegedly, this lady gave her... her niece had cancer. And they had raised a lot of money on this GoFundMe. And the niece died. And they used, some of the money for the... they paid for her funeral and everything else, and they had money left over. They donated it to some of the hospitals, but when she ran across Lisa on TikTok, when she was talking about her son having stage 4 brain cancer, she sent Lisa $2,500 only to find out that that was a lie. When she tried to go at her and get her money back, she couldn't do it. She couldn't do it. This woman was so hurt that this lady lied about her son when she had just lost her niece. But I'm going to release Harmony's video. I have it on unlisted. I don't know why I can't get to it on my laptop, but it's on my phone. And I just want you guys to go over there and I said, meet Harmony. She was offered help, but that came with conditions. It came with conditions. Beautiful young girl. And you can see she loves and takes care of her dog. So I'm going to release this right now. I don't know why I can't pull it up when I went to show you guys. But if you want to go follow her and just check her out for yourself to see what your opinion is of her, you can do that. But from what I see, this young lady is not a scammer. She has been through hell. And I'm going to release it right now. I'm making it public. And just go check out her video. Like Gerald, he was clean in rehab and Maddie will pull him back. Of course she will. Okay, here's what she tried to do. She tried, because she sent it to her through the GoFundMe thing. They said that she couldn't. Oh my God, it's been like 4 months since I heard her talking about this. But the way the GoFundMe was set up, she really can't go at her. But the rest of the money they've taken and they've donated to other charities. But she gave her $2,500. So Carolyn Kennedy is paid by Big Pharma too. And that is theft by deception. That's theft by deception, is what it is. And let me see if I have her here. Look, let me see if I can show you Harmony now. I don't know why I unlisted it. Okay, I have it. I unlisted her. And let me show you Harmony. You tell me if I'm crazy or not when it comes to Harmony. And then I'm going to get out of here. Hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to, I'm trying to stop it. Okay, let me show you Harmony real quick. And then you can tell me exactly what you think. So this is Harmony. I just ran across her.
You would know what help was if it smacked you in the face. I'm so tired of y'all's fake ass attitude. I'm so tired of it. This is cruelty.
She had a meltdown. And the comments, people were just, we want to help, we want to help, we want to help. We need to get you into this and get you into that. And she was just overwhelmed. And that's her. She just kept freezing. Well, she's at the dog park, because that's where they were dropped off at. She was at the dog park.
You are not help. You are not help. Y'all need to get rid of your stupid ass savior complex. You are not a savior. You are not help. You're annoying. You're exactly what I warn other people about. That this help comes with ultimatums. That this help comes with expectations. That this help comes with pressure. This help, conditional. I don't want that shit. I don't want that shit at all.
She absolutely had a meltdown. And I just caught it right here where she was going off and she ripped her headband off. And you can see the comments. That's real, and y'all are judging. Be lucky you haven't.
Fucking weird.
Frustration. And the comments were just, we want to help, we want to help, we want to help. And this one lady said, she goes, well, I have a place.
Just stop.
But
Just
the place
stop.
that she was given to stay, it was conditional on what she would do for the place for her and her dog. She didn't accept the conditions, and they told her to pack up her stuff, and they dropped her and her dog off at the park beside the road.
That's all I'm saying. Just stop. You don't have to wait for confirmation to be kind. You don't have to wait. You don't have to have permission to be kind.
Yes, her wig got pulled off.
You can just do it. You don't need a reason. You don't need a reason. Because I'm so clearly shown that you don't need a reason to be cruel as well.
This is Harmony. And my heart just went out to Harmony. I was like, you poor girl. To say somebody's going to help you, and then the help that they're offering you comes with conditions. And then when you don't comply, they dump you on side the road with your dog and your luggage. That was so fucked up. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I was checking to see if there was any other updates on what's going on, which we know this is going to be going on all day. Um, I'm trying to see. Okay, the search, hold on a second. So there's a search and rescue diver that's explaining the conditions right now. Hold on a second. And then I'm going to go and I got to get myself together. Um, I know I have time, but it takes me a while to get shit together. Trust me, I get sidetracked. I start doing laundry, I start doing dishes. So I just, oh shit, I clicked myself off. Hold on a second. Let me show you this again. I clicked myself off. All right, here we go.
These dive teams are now working to find all of the bodies and reunite them with their families to help explain the task that they have ahead. We are joined with Justin Barber. He is an expert search and rescue diver. Now, Justin, the conditions on the Potomac River, they have been
She's in St. Louis,
dark,
Missouri.
cold, windy.
But she's
How
on
difficult
TikTok.
has it been for them in this overnight operation?
Well, Shelby, I mean, when you're diving in these kinds of conditions, I mean, you're looking at water that's roughly around 34 degrees, so you're close to freezing. So the biggest thing that we're looking for as divers is exposure protection, especially handling situations like this. You're diving in jet fuel, among other things. So you want to make sure that you're in the correct exposure, and you want to create and establish where the debris field is and where the actual bulk of the wreck is. From there, you can actually establish what we call
Exactly,
grid patterns
Marcia.
or search patterns, which we use typically mowing the lawn, which basically just means you're going to establish a direction of heading, and then you're going to track laterally up a little bit and then back and up and back, and that allows you to maximize the amount of search area covered. And when you're doing that, you're in zero visibility in near freezing water. So basically all you're doing is just kind of feeling around the entire area, and you're not able to see pretty much anything at the entire time.
So officials do say they estimate that these recovery efforts are going to take several days. So what can we expect going on moving forward today now that we do have daylight and just in the future?
Well, even with daylight, those conditions, because you're going to be digging around in the silt and the bottom and the substrate, depending on what it is. I haven't dove in the Potomac specifically, but you're going to be silting up the area. You're going to be losing that visibility. So the conditions aren't going to get necessarily easier. You're still going to be in what we call zero viz. So it's a wide area, especially with two aircraft. So it's just
like her name is H_A_R_M_M. So just put the underscores, but it's Harmony.
Things has to be slow, methodical, and meticulous, and it takes time.
All right, well, Justin Barber, thank you.
Thank you. So that was the conditions there, but it's damn near freezing temperatures there. But if you find her, I'm going to go see if I can find her again on TikTok. But it was just sad yesterday. It was really sad. My heart went out to her. And I did send her something on Cash App. I didn't say nothing in the chat. I just listened to her. I commented and I said, hello, everyone, when I first went in. And then I didn't say anything else after that. I just watched her. And the hurt in her eyes, and her dog is right there next to her. He knows something's wrong, and she's trying to stay calm for the dog. But her dog's name is Jesus Christ. Bacardi. Her dog's name is Bacardi, and she calls the dog Cardi. But the dog's name is Bacardi. So you guys have a great day. I really appreciate everything. And I want to say thank you to everybody that came in. But go check Harmony out. Hey, Chantel, did Lisa just go live? Did she go live? You've got Lisa begging. You've got Amanda lying and begging. Oh my God, all these people that are begging on TikTok. It's not even funny. Oh, Susie. Robert Brooks. They were all, what is it? 14 of them were charged. If you guys don't understand what happened, Robert Brooks was beaten in a facility, a prison facility by, well, we saw 4 cops, I think. Now they've all been charged. Hold on a second. Let me show you guys this. So you have their local news is talking about it, but 14 of them were charged. 14 were charged. So hold on, here we go. I'm going to show this to you guys.
This isn't in New York City. This is in New York State. But live picture there over New York City Harbor there in Lady Liberty. What I want to do now, because we heard from New York Attorney General Letitia James, also from Governor Kathy Hochul, James releasing footage from the investigation into the death of Robert Brooks here. I want to put this tweet up. This is from our colleague there at Fox 5 New York, Linda Schmidt.
Look at this.
With body camera footage there. Now remember, viewer discretion is advised. She says upstate prisoner beaten to death. Correction officers' body cam videos were released today by Letitia James in the death of Robert Brooks at the Marcy Correctional Facility. And Hochul has issued a statement as well. It says 14 people will be fired over this. So this is an ongoing investigation into the death of Robert Brooks. He died December the 10th of this year after an encounter with New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision officers. This was at Marcy Correctional Facility in Marcy, New York. That's in Oneida County. Now, the day before, on December the 9th, Brooks was transferred from Mohawk Correctional Facility to Marcy Correctional Facility. Those are both in the same county, Oneida County, according to James. Brooks, she says, who was handcuffed with his hands behind his back, was then taken into a medical examination room where the events captured in the video took place here. So remember, we want to bring you some of this body camera video. Viewer discretion is advised. Let's take some of that. All right, so this was just released today by the office of New York Attorney General Tish James here. And so what you're watching right now is the moment in the wake of the transfer of Brooks from one facility to another here. So according to James, when he was transferred to this medical examination room, you're going to see it in just a moment.
Trigger warning.
Pronounced dead in the early morning hours of December 10th. But the action here, all right, we're going to watch it. Viewer discretion is advised. And there is Brooks there after being transferred from one facility to another. You are going to see the actions, and it's very difficult to watch. It's graphic. Officers there appearing to beat Brooks there.
At the medical facility. Look at all these cops. Big, fat, nasty bitches.
All right, so if you're just joining us for this story, this is what we know. This body-worn camera released by Attorney General Tish James's office that appears to show members of the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision officers there at Marcy Correctional Facility beating Robert Brooks. Brooks was handcuffed with his hands behind his back.
Face.
He was then taken to a medical examination room there where the events captured in the video took place, she says.
Look at it.
Now, Brooks was then transported to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead in the early morning hours of December the 10th.
None of them tried to stop him.
Now, Governor Hochul's office said 14 members here have been fired for their role in this. We also are getting statements in from elected leaders in New York. We're going to step away from this video. You're going to hear from James in just a second here. Let's put this up. So this is from State Senator of New York, Rob Ort. He says this: I'm sickened by the brutal and senseless attack at Marcy Correctional Facility. The footage is absolutely appalling, and these violent actions cannot be tolerated. While this incident will understandably outrage New Yorkers, it's important to recognize that this horrific event does not reflect the dedicated service of the countless correction officers who risk their lives every day to maintain order and safety in our prisons. He says those responsible must be held fully accountable. There is no excuse for this behavior. That's from New York State Senator Rob Ort. In the meantime,
his father, hold on, let's get back to his father spoke about this.
Meanwhile, body cam video of 43-year-old Robert Brooks' limp body being tossed, yanked, punched, kicked by officers at Marcy Correctional Facility outside of Utica sent shockwaves across the state and country in December.
Today, State Senator Jeremy Cooney became the latest lawmaker to propose a bill to address abuse at state prisons. Robert Brooks' father calls his son's death divine intervention. In a one-on-one conversation, Robert Ricks tells me he believes God is exposing the evil lurking within the criminal justice system.
Nobody could have told me that there were 15, 16 men that would jump on you with handcuffs on. Nobody could have made me believe that until I seen it with my eyes.
The graphic video of Robert Brooks Sr. being beaten by officers at Marcy Correctional Facility is part of a criminal investigation and the basis for a civil rights lawsuit filed by the family.
I couldn't do that to their children, even knowing that they did that to mine. I couldn't do that to them, knowing that they did that to my son. I couldn't.
Seen among several posters of black and brown men and women who have died at the hands of law enforcement, Robert Ricks says his son's death must not be in vain.
So for me, it's about the fight. It's about the fight. This is the hill that I will die on. I believe that my son died so other children may live. I believe that my son died so that there are some fathers that will make it home from prison.
Tuesday evening, February 4th, Ricks and Mary Brooks plan to share their son's story and listen to the testimony of others impacted by the criminal justice system. The Police Accountability Board is organizing the forum with other community partners.
We got to do something besides march.
The irony, Rick says, after serving a 12-year sentence for assault, his son was preparing to come home and help his dad, who's been mentoring young people for some 30 years in Rochester, providing homework help, meals, a safe space, and activities.
And then they learn how to advocate for themselves. They learn how to find their voice.
This father of three says although his oldest son was denied a second chance, he will continue to find ways to help others experience the power of grace.
I want to try to do everything that I can do to prevent our young people from going to jail, but I also want to do everything that I can do to assure the fact that when they do, they become members of the Second Chance Club.
So children ages 5 to 16.
So there was one video that I didn't show because it was really, really bad. But this one right here, look at this. They were exposed. So I'm going to look and see. But this was sad. Let's look at that again.
This isn't in New York City. This is in New York State. But live picture released today by Letitia James in the death of Robert Brooks at the Marcy Correction Nation room there.
I just want to look at what they did to this man. Look at all of them. Look at all of them beating this man that is handcuffed. Handcuffed. What the fuck? He was getting ready to be released from prison. When that man put his foot in his chest, that to me, no one tried to stop them. No one. No one. No one tried to stop anybody from assaulting this man as he's handcuffed. He served 12 years. Now, I know they were fired. Don't know if they were charged yet. And I know Susie, somebody else asked me about, I think this was the tribe. She asked me too. But wait a minute. Hold on. Let me see. I think this one might be better. Because the one I watched, it was on TikTok and it wasn't edited at all. And it was just gruesome. One I watched, it wasn't on TikTok. Okay, here we go. Hold on, here we go.
That preceded the death of 43-year-old Robert Brooks, an inmate at Marcy Prison in Oneida County. Brooks died earlier this month. News Channel 9's Ashley Capraro now shares.
On December 9th, body cam video shows Robert Brooks in handcuffs being led into the infirmary at Marcy Correctional Facility. Corrections officers are then seen carrying Brooks into the lobby. He is then taken to a medical exam room. There are multiple corrections officers surrounding Brooks. A few minutes into the video, we see the beating begin. Video showing a guard begin punching Brooks while other corrections officers are seen looking on. Video then shows guards holding Brooks down while another guard appears to kick him in the groin. Multiple officers continue to hit and punch Brooks. Video also appears to show a guard grabbing Brooks by his throat and picking him up while another guard continues to hit Brooks in the stomach with a shoe. Now, Brooks was taken to a Utica hospital where he was pronounced dead. He had been serving a 12-year sentence for assaulting his girlfriend. We are also working to learn why Brooks was transferred from Mohawk to Marcy. There were 4 body cams operating, but they were in standby mode and audio was not recorded. Full video released by the AG's office can be found online at localsyr.com. Christy.
Ashley. SYR.com. Hold on. Local SYR.com. Hold on. I'm looking. I want to see this video. I'll find it and we'll go over it tomorrow. This is sad. This is really sad. But I'm going to look and see how many deaths occurred at this facility. Because this isn't the first time they've done that. And somebody said that this is a hit squad. That's the infirmary. Yes. And they just stood there and watched. They didn't do anything. They just stood there and watched. Look at this man's face. Look at this. Look at his face. Look. Look how limp he is. Nobody's doing anything to stop this. Nobody. He's sliding down. Nobody did anything to stop this. Nobody. There is no sound. Nothing was done. Nothing. No sound. Nope, not fighting. Beat down squad. How are they going to explain all these bruises on this man? How are they going to explain that? And why was your thing on standby mode with no sound? They better be charged. They better be charged. So that's Michael Fisher's body cam. It took all of these officers to take one person to the infirmary. Look at this, beating him with a shoe. And they're just standing there. Look at this. So they're doing an investigation into his death, according to the Letitia James, who is the New York State Attorney General. I don't see any charges or anything being filed yet. And it's being called, it's a killing. It's a damn killing. And they're all just standing around. Nobody's saying, don't do that, stop. I was like, where did the 14 come from? At first, when I saw it, I saw 4 people in the room, but they're all there. So this is, hold on. They're using different, they've pulled all their body cam. I don't want to see his back. Look at him. They got him up against the wall over there. This is their infirmary. Where are the doctors? Who is that? He's just peeping in. Look at him. Nobody's doing anything but watching and smiling. That's it, guys. But I'm going to keep track of this. Trust me, Susie, I haven't forgotten about this at all. Hold on. Now they've got his clothes off of him. See, this is what I saw. I saw those 4. But then I saw, those are the same 4 that were beating him at first. He's not moving. That man is dead. Look, he's trying to stuff something in his mouth. Look how he's punching this man. Up by his neck. Look at this. Hi, dirty bitch. Could you have me watching Traitors now? Oh my God. So this is the Robert Brooks video. I'm going to drop it in the chat so you guys can you can go and watch it all. I was skipping through. Yes, I have a doctor's appointment, and I think I'll do a live tomorrow morning as well. But but that's the video, guys. This is the body cam. There it is right there. That's the body cam of Robert Brooks. It is good. And I, because I would come in the chat and I would listen. And well, matter of fact, I didn't catch you live. I would catch the replay. I'm like, shit, I need to watch this show. So I have been watching, and Cooch, I was so happy when they got rid of Robin. And that Danielle girl is getting on my nerves because she's like the little sneaky rat. She looks like a rat. And then the other one with the tattoo, shit, what's her name? He was a nurse. But I will keep up on the Robert Brooks story. I definitely want to do that. And if they press charges, hopefully we'll get that answer soon. There's nothing going on with the Madeline Soto case, but there was another case. The white couple that kept their kids as slaves, they were found guilty. I got to get that together. So tomorrow morning we'll go through that. But thank you guys for being here. I really, really appreciate it. And it is cold as shit here. Okay? It's cold. We still got snow on the ground from 3 weeks ago. Bob. See, I like Bob. I like Bob. But I'm talking about the girl. The one that looks crazy. The one that was on Survivor. What's the name? The blonde hair. Can't remember her name. But I want Tom Sandoval to go. I'm sick of him. I want Tom Sandoval to go. I want the little the Barbie crew, they need to go. But I'm trying to see who's going to be the next trader that's going to be on the chopping block. But guys, Cooch covers traders, and that's why I don't cover it, even though I watch it. Cooch covers traders. So if you guys want to, if you're watching traders, and if you want to see what's going on, Cooch is doing traders. Caroline, that's her name, Caroline. Yep, they did. Yeah, the one that looks like she's on crack. Caroline. But some of these challenges are kind of, I would have never got in that coffin, ever. Some of these challenges are crazy to me. But Traders is really, really good. So yeah, Caroline looks like she's on crack and looks like she's not even there. She's doing something, who knows? But I like Bob. You know, Bob is slick with his shit. He really is. But if you want to watch, if you're not watching Traders, you need to watch. It's really good. And Cooch is covering the recap on Traders. So I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a great, great morning. Let me get myself together. And I will see you guys. I'll come live tomorrow morning, guys. Have a great day. Keep everyone in your prayers with this tragic plane crash. No snow? Girl, we had snow like 3 weeks ago and it's still on the ground. That tells you how cold it is here. The snowman, because the sun came out the other day, the snowman kind of melted, but I still have snow on the ground. And it was 15 last night or the night before. Wait a minute. Alexa, what's the temperature?
Good morning, Heidi. Right now, it's 22 degrees Fahrenheit.
22.
Today, expect a high of 40 degrees.
It's going to be 40 today. Right now, the temperature is 22. And I have to get dressed and get myself ready to go. And the wind is bad. But Julie, if you do come to Coeur d'Alene, you have to let me know because I would definitely come get you. Love you guys. Have a great day. Cooch, I saw you went live the other day. I'm going to go and check out your replay. I need to quit working because I'm missing all kinds of shit. Don't forget, Savage is live today. I don't know if Jen is still here or not. I'm going to go check and see when Jen has her live set. And I need to catch one of Jen's live because I always catch the replay. But I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day. And I don't know what to play out of here now because it's just crazy. I'm going to play the truth. You guys have a good one. Bye.